today I'm cycling from Salisbury railway station to Andover railway station in a big S shape, about 58 miles. I'm going to be visiting 7 Churches Conservation Trust properties en route. One of them is temporarily closed, but I've arranged to meet the key holder there, so hopefully I can gain access. And the last of the 7 today is up a track in a forest. Sounds really enchanting. It's coming up. Because I'm visiting 7 churches on this ride, the trip will probably be in 2 parts, so I don't want to make the videos too long. I've just fired up the Garmin's. As soon as I pick the signal up, we'll be heading out of Salisbury, 9.5 miles to the first church. Okay, Garmin's picked the signal up. Let's get going. I can definitely feel a cold nip in the air. It's wind rather than air temperature. I have got some warmer clothes if I need them. The plan is to ride to Andover and then get a train back to Salisbury tonight, but give myself a couple of hours to pop into Wetherspoons along here. If it's tight, I'll probably just go in a chip shop, get some chips to eat on the station or on the train. First things first, need to get out of Salisbury. The traffic's not too bad at the moment. You can see there's roadworks. Those of you who know Salisbury, I've just cut round the outskirts, up past where the old youth hostel used to be, on fairly quiet roads. Now I'm just going to run alongside the very busy A36 for a few hundred yards before turning off. There's even cycle infrastructure along here, just the sort I like, just basically a footpath alongside the main road, like this. The rush hour traffic's starting to build up. This is not a nice road to ride on a bike. Going to cross over here. Our turning's coming up shortly. There's a footpath, we'll continue on that side of the road. This cut through is an old minor road which has been blocked off to traffic. You get to on foot and bicycle, you'll see what I mean, the old road coming in before it's dual carriage road. Whew. Well, that was good. That's through Salisbury, pretty much out of it with very little traffic. I'm now in the small village of Orcheston, just on the outskirts of Salisbury. So we're coming up pretty much parallel to the A36, and in a few hundred yards we're going to turn off left, and then we'll actually be crossing over it. So we've actually risen to above its elevation, but without having to ride on that horrible dual carriageway, and then we'll start snaking down to the Dun Valley and our first church. In fact, I believe it's a chapel built on the remains of an old church. We'll see. It's a lovely little village this. I'm having to film on my phone because my action camera really does not like the cold, and it is quite cold this morning. And here we are, soon after turning off that road, passing through Alderbury and Wedden. You cross over the A36. That's the summit of a big hill that's climbed out of Salisbury. That would have not been a nice road to ride on. Where that blue car's come up there now, I'll be heading down there now. I've already seen the signs for Westdean, which is the location of my first church. 4.5 miles to go. I'm about 2.5 miles away from Westdean now, my first church. You can see how open the countryside is. Literally, Salisbury's just over the brow of that hill that way. Just hear the roar of traffic in the distance and the wind blowing through the hedgerows here. Here we are then. I've just come in this way behind me, and I'm just reaching the first of my destinations, Westdean. You can see it's part of Sustrans Route 24. Keep seeing references to canals. There's Canal Farm down there, and I know the railway runs this through this valley, so clearly, obviously, where there was a railway, there could once been a canal. I might investigate that sometime. Anyway, over the brow of this hill, through a village I've ridden through many times, but I can't for the life of me place where this chapel is. That's what I love about these rides. You just come with a different purpose and you start seeing a familiar location in a different light. Okay, here's the heart of the village that anybody who knows the area will be familiar with. This is the River Dun flowing through peacefully. Those lovely daffodils. According to my Garmin, you cut across the level crossing. I'm pretty sure there's a station there which local trains stop at. Then along to the left, there's a little spur going down to it. Let's go and have a look. This is lovely. Look at that. Just round the corner then, here's the station. It's just called Dean. Level crossing there. I've said it so many times before, but I apply a very important lesson I learned as a postman. Just do a little bit of extra prep before you leave home. So this is a perfect example. The dark line is where I've come from, the cursor is where I am, and you see the little dog leg going off to the left. That just ensures I don't miss anything, or I don't have to waste time looking for things. So just round the corner, then it'll be off to the left. This is a perfect example of that GPS planning. I just saw that tower, the spire, and assumed that was it. And I came out there, went in, and that's actually St Mary's Church. That's a church in use. And I thought, where's mine? You come up here, and this is where the GPS is sending me. It just says along here, public footpath to the Bourbac Chantry. And here it is, just at the end of that gravel track up here, the Bourbac Chantry. Now, when I saw that church and I passed it and I went to pull in there thinking that was what I was going for, I thought, oh yes, I've probably clocked that before, how did I not remember? But I've certainly never been aware of this. I mean, it's very easy to miss. I wonder how many people even know this is here that don't live in this village. I certainly didn't. It says the chantry was built and endowed in 1333 by Robert de Bourbac as part of the old church of St Mary. I'll take a photograph and put that up on the screen now. It's a bit too much to read, really. Again, I'm having to film on the phone. I've got no wind muff for that today, so apologies if there's any wind noise. This is absolutely stunning. Birdsong everywhere. There's a very old faded sign. Oh, it's flaking off the silver board. Bourbac Chantry, West Dean. Church is open, please come in. I'll take my hat off as usual. I can't wait to see what's behind these doors. Straight into a bell tower. Well, look, the bell's right there above us. This chantry with the monument therein was restored by William John Evelyn of Wootton, Surrey, Esquire, 1868. I was very tempted to pull that, but I'm not going to. Seat there, stone and flint by the look of it. Straight through this wonderful old door. Dates from the 1300s, it said outside at that board. Wow, look at this. Lovely wooden ceiling. Oh, wow, look at that. Just about to sign the visitors book. You can see 27th of December, 2nd of February, 11th of February, Then I think these 3 entries are Valentine's Day. Oh, Valentine's Day, the next day. So, was that February the 15th? And today is the 8th of March, so nearly a month since the last person who visited and actually signed the book. I'm sure people have been in here since then. All from West Dean, so there I am, the 8th of the 3rd, 24, Andy C, party of 1, Bath Sunset, cycling to 7 CCT churches today. Ballback Chantry, ladies and gentlemen. I've seen at some of the churches they've mentioned micro-volunteering, and I was actually going to sweep the porch out at one of them because there was a lot of leaves and debris in there, and I just could not find a broom. There's a couple of leaves there, so that's my little chore for today. I'll just sweep the leaves out. What a stunning find. I was going to sweep the porch out anyway, and I suddenly saw a bit of paper drop down, and it says, "A brush with immortality. Please use broom as needed before you leave." Thank you. You're very welcome. It's a lovely place. I've already mentioned the 6th of today's 7 churches at SouthTidworth is currently closed, but on the CCT website it gives you a phone number to ring to gain access, and I did that yesterday. Just said, would it be possible to look round? Really nice guy called Fred said, yeah. Any idea what time you'd be there? And I said between 2 and 3. And do you want me to phone you before I get there, maybe an hour before? And he said, no, I'll be there with it open. So I sort of feel like there's a little bit of pressure on me to be there at that time. If I really am running late, of course I'll ring him up and let him know. So I don't want to rush today, but I also feel I'd give myself a bit of a deadline. This is stunning. Signs of spring everywhere. The train ride today, it was virtually like when I got on the train at about 6:05. A hill. Now what we're doing, we trace the track back to the road I was on, carrying up out the village, and then I'll be heading westwards, hopefully out the wind, which should make things a little bit warmer for the next couple of hours before we then snake round and start climbing up on Salisbury Plain. Wow, St Mary's Ballback. I've got my action camera all wrapped up in the warm in my saddlebag. Hopefully that'll warm up and start working again. Meanwhile, just using the mobile phone, this gives you an idea of the route between the first and the second church. Absolutely lovely along here, and I'm now turning out of the wind briefly, I think, for a few miles. I'm now on a bit of byway, around about 14 miles into the ride. I knew this was coming, and what it's basically doing is cutting off a corner where a road goes that way and comes back that way, so it's going straight across. Then it'll do the same at the next junction. It's about a mile and a half off road. I was aware of this, and my plan has been, if it's too muddy, I'll just main road it. But you know, it looks fine, it's fairly hardcore. Looks like it might have once been a road, actually, country lane. It's just sunken down. Okay, in hindsight, that track was maybe a mistake. It's just got very, very boggy. You can probably see by my shoes, I was sunk down in deep mud. I saw a massive big flood along there. Horses and four-wheel drives have got through it, but I would have just got drenched. And I saw this building here and I figured there's got to be a service road up to it, so I've just walked around very carefully the edge of this cropped field, and it's brought me back up this track. So I did say there's 2 sections of rough stuff. I think I'll overwrite the second one and just stick on this minor road. I've just taken the road down off that ridge, so I've done 2 sides of a triangle. Again, I avoided that track. It looked all right at the top, so did the other one, but you can sort of see it's quite muddy down there. Now we're heading down. This is the road we will continue on. Kind of cross over the A303, but we're heading up towards Porton Down, Boscombe Down, the big MOD area. And I can see red flags up, so it looks like there might be firing up there, so there could well be some restrictions. We'll see. Next church is going to be at Idmiston. Of course, my mileage is a little bit out now. It was going to be 19.5. It could be about a mile more than that. Not much, I would have thought. Okay, after I last spoke to you, I dropped down and crossed the A30 road. and then came up over Porton Down. It's forbidden to film in there because it's MOD land. It's all gated, you know, it's open at the moment, but it can be closed at times. Now I'm just in the small town of Porton after a really long fast stretch, and again my Garmin's just saying go up this dog leg, and it's even signposted up there, Idmiston, that's the next church, and it should have been at 19.5. It looks like it's going to be about 19.5, so I'm not that much out with the detour. What I gained on one leg I think I lost on another, so it's probably balanced itself out. Anyway, next church up there. Just coming into Idmiston, very waterlogged over here. I'm not sure what that river is, I'll have to look that up, but according to this we just go around the corner there. You can see the dog leg, a bit further church, then come back to that T-junction, carry on our way. God, look at me covered in mud. I've managed to get my shoes scraped down a little bit. I'll hopefully be able to stamp the rest of that off. And literally just past the boundary sign, as you enter the village itself with a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, there is the church. All Saints Idmiston. I've just realised I've been here before. It's when I rode Margary's Triangle either last year or the year before. 3 Roman roads based starting and finishing at Old Sarum. Now I'd been up to Silchester and I was riding Margary's 4, the London to Exeter road. The section's called the Portway, and it was from Silchester down to Old Sarum, and I did a long section but actually off-road, and then I dropped down, crossed the main road here and then carried on to Old Sarum. And I remember coming in here actually at the time. So you guessed it, I've always wanted to come back, and today's the day. Isn't it funny, you approach somewhere from a different direction, it doesn't seem familiar until you get to a spot where you came in from, and I think I came in that way, heading that way. I've got the sun on my back at the moment, and there's some poke behind it. I can really feel the heat, but this leg I've just done, this dog leg coming east, makes me realise how cold and how strong the wind is. It's picking up this afternoon, so I think later this afternoon is going to be quite hard. Anyway, I just want to stamp my shoes here to make sure I've got as much mud off as possible before I go inside. Outer steel gates, flint and stone in the porch, wood in the ceiling, and a light, and then the old inner doors, screens to keep the birds out. Oh yes, I remember this. Straight into the nave through this pretty chunky door actually. That's definitely the south because it's been lit up by the sun coming in. Normally the porches are from the south, so it's a bit unusual. That would be east. Small but very attractive stone pulpit there. And then step up into the chancel. Carpet there again. I'm not going to walk out there with mud on my shoes. I've got most of it off, but I don't want to be leaving debris on there. Look at that wonderful, almost barn-like tithe roof. Wonderful stone arch. Almost like gargoyles out there. There's a word for those supporting the beams. I can't remember what it's called. Little statuettes. And that's looking back westwards. The sun's actually blasting in this direction. Gosh, old pump organ there. There's a visitor's information. What's this at the back? Tends to be a bit more doom and gloom down the west side or the north side. I suppose you could say this was the south side actually. I can't read it. I think that's all in Latin. I can read December the 2nd, Anno Domini 1633. A very small organ at the top of this aisle, and there's a more substantial one here. Gosh, look at that. That's almost like a ladder, really, isn't it? Yeah, it is. It's for climbing up there. Oh, into bell tower. Look, there's a trapdoor. And you've got a safety route there. Whenever you see these angled walls going out the window, it makes you realise just how thick church walls were. That's at least a metre thick, I would have said, if not more. What's that a photograph of? All Saints, Idmiston, Trinity Club, circa 1890. It's a very light, airy church. That's looking back out the porch, front to the left. So yeah, a north-facing porch, yeah. Checking the visitors book again. 29th of February, 1st to the 3rd, 1st to the 3rd, something of the 3rd, today's the 8th. Just put my entry in, 8th to the 3rd, Handy C, party of 1, Baths BA23, cycling to 7 CCT Wiltshire churches today. This is number 2. I'm going to go outside and have a wander around the churchyard. Before I do that though, because I've got no wind muff on this camera, thank you to everybody who came up and said hello and introduced himself to me at the Audax on Sunday. That was Fletcher's Flapjack 100 from Chippenham. Woke up Saturday, I pulled the curtains back and there's an inch or so of snow and I thought, oh dear, that's very unlikely, I'll ride tomorrow. And then it just thawed and melted overnight. And I rode to Chippenham and back afterwards, so it made it about a 98-mile ride. It was very cold first thing. I was probably a little bit overdressed for most of the ride, and then I was quite glad to have the warmer clothes on as the sun got down. But I actually got home in the light just, actually. It's a fantastic ride, fantastic event. I thoroughly recommend it. And once again, it's lovely to meet you all, the people that come and said hello to me. Wow, look at that. Anyway, let's have a wander around outside. Just checking my Garmin, it says I'm on 19.85 miles. So that little detour didn't add much at all. This should have been 19.5, so I'm about a third of a mile out. So the next one's going to be at 30 miles, and that's where they come thick and fast. 30 miles, 30.75, 32. So 1, 2, 3. So the next one's St Andrew, Rollestone. Let's get going. Leaving Idmiston, I retraced back to Porton and then carried on, and I climbed out of the Bourne Valley up over Boscombe Down. This is an MOD area and it's forbidden to photograph or film up there. And there's even signs saying this is a no drone zone. I couldn't film for several other reasons either. Later on there was a lot of wind noise, and then as I dropped down to Amesbury, I turned out of the town and I found myself joining the very busy A303 trunk road, the London to the Southwest road. It's a motorway in all but name. And I started approaching it from the single carriageway section just before it reverts back to dual carriageway. And I suddenly realised, gosh, I'm heading towards Stonehenge. And luckily this single carriageway, very busy road, had a pavement alongside it, so I was able to ride on the pavement. And just as the pavement ended, you had to cross over the carriageway and then turn up onto a byway. And it used to be an old A road. I remember riding down that in the 1990s. You can clearly see it on these pictures. You can see where it's now a greenway, but it used to be a minor road. And you can see from this old photograph that there used to be some houses there as well. I think one of them was the keeper's cottage for the Stones. This meant I was able to ride right up past Stonehenge without having to pay to get in, which is great. You get just as good a view because even the people who pay to go in can't get anywhere near the stones. And then you resurface back onto tarmac where the coaches from the visitors centre drop off the tourists. So I rode along that very straight road. It felt straight and it felt like an old Roman road. Not sure if it is. And then shortly after that, I started dropping down into the small town of Chute. And just as I was coming down there, my Garmin pinged and sent me off the track down to left to my third church, St Andrew's at Rollestone. So traffic heading down the hill, just done this sharp little left down this dog leg, and I think I can see it in front of me. My Garmin just pinged me down this gravel track and it looks like you're about to go in someone's house. Well, in fact that's the old rectory, because it's next to this, St Andrew's Church at Rollestone. This is the third of the 7 today. There's another one in 3/4 of a mile, then another one a mile after that, and then I've got about 8 miles to get to the 6th one where I'm meeting the key holder. Yeah, to birdcage store as usual. St Andrew's Church, Rollestone. Welcome, the church is open. Please do come in. I'm going to, thank you very much. The audio tour of St Andrew's Church. Okay, what are we going to find? Wow. Oh, slightly musty smell, although it's quite bright. Rounded front there, the wooden top. Being nosy, let's see what's behind here. Oh, bicycles, broom, that utility area. Oh, there's a sign out there. That would have reassured me, but you know, I'm quite happy just to follow the Garmin, so I've done my homework. Go forward. To the glory of God, in memory of Ian Rose and F. Mills, brave lads of this parish who gave their lives in the Great War, 1914, 1918. Looks like 2 organs there, look. Then up a couple of steps to the chancel. And that really bright window. It says here, in memory of Henry Westenra Walsh, rector of Rollestone, 1877 to 1922, who was born in 1849, died in 1922. Then I cannot read that Latin, I guess. You can hear the roar of the road because it's only about 100 yards away, but it's so peaceful here though. Just about to sign the visitor's book, and again, always see who's been here recently. There was a group of 3 yesterday actually, but they're from the CCT. Said something this day, business this day, I think that says. And then the last one before that was 17th of February, 2 people. Geocaching. So they must use this place as a bit of a treasure hunt. And before that, it was the 19th of the 1st. So I'll add mine today. And I've put 8th of the 3rd, 24, Andy C, party of 1, Bath, Somerset. Reasons for visit, cycling to 7 CCT churches today. St Andrew's, 3rd of the 7th. A little bit nervous going back out because I just feel like I'm trespassing, I really do. Access to the church is restricted after vandalism in 2016. Fred, the key holder's just been telling me about that, so I'll talk to him more about that outside. I had to leave St Mary's just to warm up, really. I'm quite tired. It's been a very, very hard afternoon. After the lunch stop, which wasn't a lunch stop, I just turned eastwards into a brutal headwind. Crucifixion. Fantastic walk down that track with a couple of walkers. They were really nice, friendly, interested in what I've been doing. Told him I was going to Salisbury's Wetherspoons, and he said, oh yeah, that's quite good. You don't want to go to Andover Wetherspoons, it's not quite as good.